world, got God in the plan, yo. Now I'm counting blessings, God, wealth in my hand. Used to dream small, now the mindset grand. Now I move like a boss, not a flash in the gram. It's a squad, not a clique, it's a mission with a vision. We build a 7 figures, not just flexing for attention. Faith in the grind, purpose in the hustle. I don't chase cash, I attract it through muscle.
All right, what's cracking, everybody? Money Smart Guy Matt Sapaula here. Aliens here from Dallas, Texas, and welcome to another episode of the Millionaire Responds YouTube Live on Tuesdays, 2 p.m. Actually, 2:30 today. Thank you for your patience. But today's episode is going to make some people uncomfortable, but it's going to make the right people smart, because today we're going to be reacting to some reels here on infinite banking gone wrong, why people make $140,000 a year still feel broke, and why home ownership isn't the investment that people think it is. How come cities like my former city of Chicago are declining in real time? We're going to show you a video here. I'm shocked to see this video. And why sales, not salaries, is the great equalizer. Now, if you've ever felt like, man, I did everything they told me to do, and it still doesn't add up, then this episode is for you. So stick with me, because in the end, we're going to share why I wrote the book, Keep the Keys, and how to protect yourself from promises that get changed later, and why I'm hosting a cigars event, Cigars with the Whiskey, here, right here in Dallas, Texas, a suburb called Frisco, on February 12, 2026. But before we get into it, drop clarity. If you join me right now, drop clarity in the comment section below so I know that you guys are locked in. All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Hey, 7 figure squad, where we go? Run it up, run it up.
What's up? I see you guys here chiming in from Canada, chiming in. By the way, if you guys are chiming in from different parts of the country, let me know where you're from, man. Are you from Chicago, like where I'm from? Are you guys from California? Are you guys from Florida? Are you guys from Utah? We got people all over the place from Canada. My man here from Dolphin River First Nation, man, Canada. Good to see you here. You're always either on my YouTube channel or on my IG stream, so I appreciate you following me on social media. So let's get into the first video here. This guy here is like, bro, I need to make $140,000 for my family in order for me to be broke. Let's take a look at this.
Right? Transportation. We paid off our cars, so we don't have any car notes or anything like that. All we have is insurance on the cars and gas. So for cars, we're about $3,500 a year to cover them, insure them, and gas and maintenance. $3,500 to $4,000 a year. Transportation at $14,800. That's roughly $1,200 a month on transportation, right? That's 2 people with $450 to $500 car notes and some insurance. You got a $450 car note, your spouse got a $520 car note, and y'all both paying $100 a month in insurance. Y'all paying way more than that when you factor in gas and everything and maintenance and stuff like that. So that number also is realistic. Healthcare, he got it at $10,500. That is a realistic number. If depending on what you got going on, do you have to pay for healthcare out of pocket? Do you do the subsidized stuff through the Obamacare marketplace? Trump is switching all that up now, so come January, the healthcare is about to be even more crazy. Or do you have healthcare that's sponsored through your employer? We're blessed. My wife works for an employer who subsidizes probably 75 to 80% of the healthcare costs. So we pay roughly $380 a month for healthcare for the family of 4. But I'm an entrepreneur, and when I was looking up healthcare before my wife and went and got a full-time job, and we got that blessing of a benefit, my healthcare for my family of 4 out of pocket as an entrepreneur was $2,400 a month. That's almost $29,000 a year if you're an entrepreneur or someone who doesn't have a subsidized plan through an employer out of your pocket. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're paying way more than $10,000 a year, but you could be paying less depending on what your healthcare provider. That number is also realistic. And then he has $21,000 or $22,000 for other essentials, also very realistic. That's $2,000 a month. That could be your toiletries in your house. That could be sports for your kids. That could be, there's so many clothes, you know, something breaks in the house, the furnace goes out. My furnace just went out. I just paid $900 to get that fixed. You know what I'm saying? Like just miscellaneous stuff. That leaves you with a total of $118,000 of real cash dollars. Then you have to factor in that even though you make a certain amount of income, you got to pay taxes. So he added in another $18,500 for taxes, which puts you at a real poverty line of $140,000. Now, some would argue that that's not the poverty line, that's surviving. But to me in this country, if you're just covering your basic essentials. You just got a car. You got food on the table. You got somebody to watch your kids while you work. Like you're not thriving. So yeah, that's poverty. Like buck.
Yeah, well, I have to agree that the $140,000 income today is kind of like the $50,000 a year of the 80s and the 90s. There's an article by Yahoo Finance that said that 40% of people making $300,000 or more are living paycheck to paycheck. So please, let's be frank. People aren't complaining just because life is hard. Now, there's real data showing that everyday expenses are rising faster than many people's income. And inflation isn't a myth. It's real. In 2025, prices across everyday goods like eggs and services and milk and food rose about 3% over the last 12 months. That's food, housing, and healthcare. And food prices alone increased over 3% year over year. And that's after a period where grocery inflation hit double digits. And he just talking about healthcare costs. Healthcare costs have been rising faster than general inflation for decades, meaning medical care eats up more of your budget today than it did for previous generations. And by the way, healthcare costs is the number one reason why people file bankruptcy. Housing costs, both rent and home prices, have grown significantly faster than wages since 2000. So this isn't fear-mongering. This is actual facts. But here's where most people stop thinking. Higher prices do not automatically mean that you can't win financially. Now, higher expenses do not mean you should live paycheck to paycheck. And it definitely don't mean you should settle for less than what you're worth. So here's what most people miss. Inflation is a reason to earn more, not an excuse to spend more. And inflation is a reason to upskill, upgrade, and up-strategize, not to shrink back. I know it's inconvenient. I know it's uncomfortable, but that's the change we all got to make, me included. I did this, and many people continue to have to do this for the rest of time. Now, too many people say, they don't pay me enough. It's not a living wage. But the real question is, am I equipping myself to earn what I'm worth? Again, this means upskilling, owning your financial education and financial literacy, owning and negotiating your value, and also creating multiple streams of income. I start with one massive stream of Mississippi River income. I stuck with the insurance industry 26 years ago, and it sprinkled into other things. But I stuck with it, though, until my first 7 figures. And also, you got to think long-term, not short-term. The Bible says plainly in Proverbs chapter 1, verse 5, the wise man will hear an increase in learning, not complaining. So understanding the cost of living is step 1, and beating it is step 2. And when people feel this pressure, they start reaching for shortcuts, and I hope you search for things that benefit you long-term. And speaking of long-term, I've been in the insurance business now for 26 years. I can't believe next year I'll be saying I've been doing this for 27 years. And this is, in my opinion, an example of a video talk about my profession I've done for 26 years in terms of helping people with life insurance and infinite banking. I saw a quick glimpse of this. I'm going to watch the full of it, not with you. But this is what happens when infinite banking goes wrong. Take a look at this.
Account to only get 3% interest. But in the whole life insurance policy, you get 40% on the dollar. And that's why people got to have a whole life insurance policy. It's a cold hustle, yo. This is like I teach this shit.
Fucking me up.
Yeah, it's a cold hustle. But you really,
He said he teaches this?
I don't mean hustle in a bad way. I mean hustle you read and know how. I'm not gonna say the white man, just people who fucking read and study how they do it, because this information is right in fucking front of us.
That's true.
That you can really change your life easy. Son or daughter.
Okay, so
Walks away with $60,000 cash, tax-free. Now, here's the cold part about whole life insurance. After your policy matures in 3 years, you become a bank.
Yeah.
Now, you don't really need an American Express card. Now you can take a loan on your insurance for $1 million, $2 million, $3 million and pay yourself back. The reason why the insurance companies can't teach us this, the rest of the world, is because the government holds them hostage, because the government wants you to put your money in their account to only get 3% interest. But in the whole life insurance policy, you get 40% on the dollar. And that's why people got to have a whole life insurance policy. It's a cold hustle, yo. This is like I teach this shit.
Fucking me up.
Yeah, it's a cold hustle.
all right, so I got to stop this. So this is why, exactly why life insurance gets a bad reputation. For the record, I'm a life insurance strategist, life insurance agent for the last 26 years. And over the last 4 years alone, our teams across the country, our office across the country, over 5,000 of my agents have submitted over 120,000 life insurance policies to life insurance carriers nationwide. So for many of you watching this, this might be your first introduction to life insurance. But for myself, my team, our office, we've been doing this for over 2 decades across the country. And before that, I ran my own independent solo practice for 12 years. So let me be very clear. There is no permanent life insurance policies that matures in 3 years. None. Zero. Whole life insurance does not turn you into a bank overnight where you don't need American Express or whatever bank. It does not pay 40% on the dollar. And the government is not blocking insurance companies from teaching this. Stop it. So that language sounds exciting. It's very marketable, but it creates false expectations. So let me share with you the actual truth. Infinite banking is a long-term cash flow strategy. It requires proper policy design, correct funding. It requires patience, discipline over time. But yes, to his point, you can access cash value, but it doesn't mature in 3 years. And yes, you can use policy loans, but policy loans aren't free money. And growth isn't instant inside a whole life insurance policy or universal life insurance policy or index universal life policy. Folks, this ain't a hustle. This is wise stewardship use of permanent life insurance policies. And when I see things like this, misinformation like this spreading, even big influencers get it wrong. And so if you guys want to figure out how to get this done for you, there's an app out there called Minect. Reach out to me on Minect. It's a guaranteed way for you to contact me, direct access to me. I will respond. I got over 100 reviews there. You can send me a text message, I'll respond. You want to get a video message from me, I will respond. If you want to set up a 15-minute conversation with me about this type of stuff, I will respond. But please, just don't go over life insurance and your knee-jerk reaction to just based on what you see on social media. That's why a lot of people today get hurt. And that's why the next video here I want to share with you, the rich BFF, she's got her thought process on infinite banking too as well. Let's take a look at what she's had to say.
Determined that a 30-year-old male would pay $672 a year for 20 years of term life.
Let me start this from the beginning. There you go.
Swindled by finance gurus talking about infinite banking, whole life insurance as a perfect investment for everybody, but not you. Because you follow me, Vivian, your rich BFF, and your favorite Wall Street girly who can tell you what's actually going on. There are two main types of life insurance, term and whole. With term, you pay money into a system, and if your family gets a little something something. Whole life insurance has that same death benefit, but it also has an investment component that allows its value to grow over time. And in theory, that sounds really good, right? Wrong. Because what these scammers don't tell you about whole life insurance, IULs, MPIs, infinite banking, whatever you want to call it, is that it likely only makes sense for people who are already high net worth. Why? Because the upfront setup costs are so high. In fact, MetLife determined that a 30-year-old male would pay $672 a year for 20 years of term life and $8,320 a year for whole life. And I'm not the only one saying this. The experts agree. For the vast majority of people, the money that you would spend on whole life premiums would be better spent as investment capital into the stock market. The only people who are promoting life insurance as an investment vehicle are the ones who are incentivized to sell it to you.
Same old. Some
people are
This guy's 26 years of me doing this. I've never had a beneficiary of a life insurance policyholder ever regret their loved one ever having life insurance that benefit to them. So let me address this very respectfully, clearly, and with facts. Again, I'm a life insurance agent. I'm a life insurance strategist. 120,000 policies submitted in the last 4 years alone. 12 years running my own independent practice before building an agency. So what I'm about to talk about is in theory. This is lived actual client experience. So first correction, whole life insurance is not an investment. Anyone teaching it that way is already wrong. It is a financial tool designed for protection, liquidity, and long-term strategy. And infinite banking is a cash flow strategy, not a stock market investment replacement. Second, permanent life insurance isn't only for the wealthy. Is it right for everyone? Absolutely not. But it depends on how the policy is designed, for what the problem it's solving and how it fits into somebody's overall financial picture. Third, comparing term insurance to permanent insurance like whole life without explaining structure is misleading, because not all that premium from whole life policies go to the cost of insurance. So it's like saying rent is cheaper than owning. Therefore, ownership is a scam. You see, it's different tools, different purposes. And finally, a Wall Street guru like Rich BFF, I'm not sure what her name is, has no more high ground here. Miss Wall Street, the same industry, Wall Street, that pushed toxic mortgages and marketed safe portfolios that weren't safe for the average person in America, should be careful throwing around the word swindled. She worked in a swindled economy. The scripture says this: the simple believe anything, but the prudent give thought to the steps. That's in Proverbs chapter 14, verse 15. My job isn't to sell fear. It's to teach discernment, structure, stewardship, so you can start thinking for yourself. And nowhere is confusion more dangerous than talking about life insurance today. And to the next video, more confusing about talking about homes and real estate and invest. Let's take a look at the next video here. This guy, I love this guy. I love this guy's style. He's in a Rolls Royce. Question for people is a home an investment? Take a look what he's got to say.
At first investment. Absolutely. Buying a home is never an investment. I'll argue this point till the end of the time. A home is a luxury item. It's something you want. It's something that provides security. It's a place to raise your family, but it is not an investment. So long as you have to go to work to pay that mortgage and pay those bills, that is not an investment. It's a luxury item.
I actually agree with this mostly. Buying a home is not automatically an investment. And for many people, it's their biggest financial misconception, biggest financial obligation. A primary residence is shelter, stability, security. Finally, something you can call your own. It's a place to raise your family. But I also agree, that's not an investment. That's a liability with emotional value attached to it. But here's the rule of thumb I teach. If you have to go to work to pay for it, it's not an investment. If it doesn't put money back in your pocket, it's not an investment. Your home doesn't pay you. In fact, you pay it. You pay mortgages, you pay taxes, interest, insurance, maintenance, HOA, repair costs, and appreciation. Just because your property value has the potential to grow doesn't make it an investment. That equity doesn't equal liquidity. That equity doesn't put money in your pocket every month. And Zillow estimates whatever they value your house at doesn't pay your bills. And a home can be a financial tool only with strategy. And by the way, guys, we just recorded over an hour-long podcast with Monty Feltz, who's a loan officer, mortgage strategist here. You got to go to my YouTube channel, Just Earn It, to see that podcast. It's going to be launched here in the next week or two. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel too as well, Just Earn It, because this is exactly why I wrote the book, Keep the Keys. Because owning a home isn't the goal. Owning control and liquidity is. Make sure you go to my website, keepthekeysbook.com. If you're a homeowner right now or you potentially want to buy a house, go to my website right now. It's a best-selling book in the mortgage category, in the buying and selling home category, in the real estate investing category. And I'm not even in real estate. I'm an insurance strategist, because there's 7 key strategies in there that every homeowner needs to incorporate if you fit in those scenarios: owning property, owning investment property. Go to my website, keepthekeysbook.com, and get your free tools to help you make smarter decisions and educate yourself about what you need to do with your money as it relates to your home equity and appreciation. All right. Let's go to the next video. Because speaking of equity, let me restart this. Speaking of equity, this young lady here faced a scenario. This story is heartbreaking because people work so hard for a house and they shouldn't be stuck in a situation like this. Let's check it out.
Shocked me. His parents live in a $1.5 million home. They only owe $400,000 on their mortgage, which means they're sitting on $1.1 million in equity. Yet, they're surviving on just $2,500 a month.
Sheesh.
A government pension. They're struggling with bills, they're stressed with maintenance, no fancy retirement plan. Okay, my solution: sell the house. Downsize to a spacious condo, no stairs. Put away $100,000 for emergencies. Put that $1 million to work at 10%. That's $100,000 a year. Suddenly, they've gone from broke homeowners to making over $8,000 a month in income. Their first home literally became their future millions. Don't keep your RSPs in the bank. Here's why I said no. If you have existing RSPs and it's sitting in mutual funds, you're probably making about 3%. You are getting played. Here's what to do instead. When I left my government job, they handed me my pension and gave me the option to take it out. So I moved it into a locked-in RSP. But here's the key.
Retirement savings
I
account.
made it
Retirement savings
self-directed.
plan. It's Canada.
That means I became the bank. I decide who I lend to, I set the interest rate, and the loan is secured against real estate, someone's house or a parcel of land, all done legally through lawyers, just like any other mortgage would. Now they pay me interest directly, the same way they'd pay a traditional bank. And the kicker? I've been earning double-digit returns year after year consistently. Most people let their RSP sit in a fund collecting crumbs. I'm using mine to build wealth passively with security.
I love it. Good job. Good job. Well done. Back to the scenario. A couple lives in a $1.5 million home, and they only owe $400,000 now. So they're sitting on $1.1 million in equity. Sad part about it, they're surviving on $2,500 a month. What is that? A government paycheck, government pension. See, that's not a money problem. That's a strategy problem. And selling the home might be an option, but it's a not one size fits all type of strategy either. And saying put the money to work at 10%, I don't know. It's not automatic. And that's actually quite dangerous, looking for something that's going to be paying you 10% guaranteed for the rest of your life. Because returns, those type of returns at 10% aren't guaranteed. Risk matters, taxes matter, timing matters, people's behavior matters. We haven't even talked about healthcare in case somebody needs a home healthcare aid to help them around the house. See, home equity is not income. Appreciation of your property, the growing value of it, is not liquidity. And a paid down house does not equal financial freedom either. And this is how people end up house rich and cash poor. And scripture says the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. That's Proverbs chapter 22, verse 3. And I want you to go to my website. If this hits you, I want you to go to my website, keepthekeysbook.com. Go grab my clarity worksheet. Figure out where you fit on the clarity scale. Fill out the quiz and see where you at. Do you have leaks? Are you good to go? Are you squared away? Or need somebody to teach you methodologies and strategies? Because these free tools, it's going to show you where your money actually sits, where you're exposed, and where you still have leverage and options. This is no hype. This is absolutely free. I'm not selling you nothing. You get it to me for free. I get it to you for free. No hype, no pressure, no course to sell you. And when individuals ignore structure, cities also do the same. What am I talking about? This next video here, I'm from Chi-Town. I'm from Chicago. I'm so sad to see what's gone to my former hometown of Chicago, and it's decaying right before our very eyes. But this is what I love to see, the actual truth, because there's such a narrative out there that Chicago's developing and restructuring, et cetera, et cetera. Listen, man, this is going on in Chicago right now because of failed policies by 2 mayors in a row. I'm reacting to this reel right now on State Street, downtown Chicago. Let's take a look at this.
And this is what it looks like. It literally looks and feels like an old abandoned mall.
That's crazy, man.
Majority of State Street is literally abandoned. People cannot afford the leases or the rent and all the insane fees that Chicago is charging for them to simply have a store and to provide this opportunity and experience for Chicagoans.
What?
State Street is abandoned. It's largely abandoned. Like, this is what I mean by Chicago needs to be made fun again. Like, what's going on? Why is State Street literally empty? Empty. It's like an old mall. It's like a dying mall. Like, that's not good. That's
not good at all.
Literally can't even get stores to rent store space here. So I just drove through State.
So when I see vacant storefronts, empty blocks, because she was driving for a minute and there's just store after store after store, vacancy after vacancy, a dying mall. Here's why. Chicago's pension systems are the most underfunded in the country, some hovering around 20 to 25% funded. Means they're this far from being insolvent. It means every dollar promised in retirement, only 20 to 25 cents is currently there in the current pension system. So what they got to do? They got to raise taxes. Fees increase. And what happens to that? Businesses leave. Promises sadly get restructured. Now, if your future depends on someone else keeping a promise, like a pension, you're exposed. That's why I'm a capitalist. Not because it's perfect, but because it gives individuals like me and you, average Joes, the best shot to win economically. Now, I started my career, I watched California decline. I started my career in California. I was serving in the Marine Corps in California. Then I moved back home to Chicago. Now, today, that's why I'm thriving in Dallas, Texas, baby. Different policies here, different incentives here, different outcomes here, obviously. No state income tax, no capital gains tax here. The Texas Wall Street is about to come online, and that's why I'm hosting Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey on February 12th, 2026, right here. I'll be sitting down with Jeff Karcher. He's a co-founder of Lone Star Analysis and a key leader in a newly formed Texas Stock Exchange. I'll be interviewing him on stage. No hype, just clarity in a room full of people looking to level up to make sure that their cities and neighborhoods aren't looking like this in their hometown, because we want to make sure we give birth to another wave of entrepreneurs in our local cities. And make sure you come out to this event, Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey, February 12th here. Get your ticket. Early bird discounts right now are on sale. So let's take another look at this. Last one here. Last reel for this episode. This is the career. This is the career that's made billionaires. This is the career that's made millionaires. What career is it, say you? What career is it that exposes people from mediocrity to getting involved in this profession, to be a millionaire, potentially a billionaire? Let's take a look at this.
Profession almost nobody respects, but 19% of the world's top billionaires and over 75% of all millionaires either started there or worked in it at some point. You've probably ignored it your whole life, and it's the biggest mistake you can make. This career path isn't glamorous, it's not safe, not comfortable, but the skills you get from it shape the exact toolkit of every successful entrepreneur. That's why almost every wealthy person touches this path eventually, because nothing builds you faster. I'm talking about sales. Sales is the underdog's superpower. It's the great equalizer. It's the only skill where starting at zero means absolutely nothing. You learn to lead conversations, you learn to read people, you learn charisma, persuasion, confidence, psychology, resilience, emotional intelligence, and the best part, these skills bleed into everything in life.
That's right.
Despite being an engineer, I took my first job selling for a tech startup. It expedited my path into entrepreneurship and gave me everything I have today. Everything is sales. Convincing your wife you won't bring money home, convincing customers to buy your product when it's duct tape, convincing people to work for your startup on low pay, convincing investors to fund you. If you're afraid to sell, you're afraid to grow. Go fix both.
Woo! I love that one. So let's end this episode with this. Sales didn't just make me better in business. Sales made me a better husband, a better father. And at home, I'm not seven-figure squad. At home, I'm not this guy that is teaching a class on entrepreneurship and personal finance. I don't get to demand what goes on inside of my house. I have to communicate. I got to convince my kids. I got to convince my wife. Vacations, career guidance, influence, leadership. Why my kids need to read a book. Why they do push-ups to earn their Curious George, episodes, because sales taught me to listen. Sales taught me to read emotions. Sales taught me to choose timing and use persuasion. In my opinion, persuasion with love, tough love. So if you ever want to get better at sales, here's what you do. You ask better questions. Good book out there, good leaders ask great questions. Number 2, you practice empathy. Number 3, you control your tone. Jordan Belfort's called that tonality. Number 4, if you want to get better at sales, you need to detach rejection from identity. In other words, just because people say no to you doesn't mean they're rejecting you. They're just rejecting your product and your service, not you. So don't take things personally. Want to get better at sales? Study human behavior. Why do people make certain decisions? You got to ask for the pain point. You want to sell your product or service, you're pushing up on them. I always go by the term. Amateurs tell, pros ask. So study human behavior and sell vision before details. I just put a post today about why I got this business started with 5 people. They all quit on me the first week, and why we have 5,000 agents today. I put that on Facebook. Check that out on Facebook, because the Bible says here in Colossians chapter 4, verse 6, let your conversation be full of grace and seasoned with wisdom. You see, sales isn't about closing people. It's about opening up a conversation and opening understanding. Bottom line, guys, first for me to see Chicago turn into this but cities rise and fall. Markets go up and down. They change. And governments rewrite the rules. But a man with skill, a man with clarity, and a man in the right room can win anywhere. And one more time, guys, go to my website at Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey. Secure your seat for February 12th. Grab your free clarity worksheet from Keep the Keys. I got Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey. I got so many things to offer you guys for outside of the event. It's not a free event, but this is a worksheet you can get for free. Of course, you got to buy the book on Amazon. But this is Millionaire Responds. This is Dallas, Texas. I'm your money smart guy. I appreciate you tuning in. Please put your biggest takeaway in the comment section below. I appreciate you tuning in here every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be talking about things going on in the marketplace today, reels that are trending, and what we can do to get ahead, to become money smart. Because today, if $120,000, $140,000 feels like it's just about being poor, guess eventually we're making seven figures is going to be. And if you find yourself in debt, make sure you get yourself out of debt. Contact our guys at Mediator Debt Solutions. They'll help you do a budget, figure out what type of solution for you to pay off your debt is, because I want you to start off 2026 in a much stronger, accelerated way to have momentum. So instead of paying all these credit card companies and healthcare bills and whatever non-secure debt you got going on, instead of paying these folks, I'd rather you end up paying yourself. Instead of paying those liabilities, you fund and finance your assets that creates cash flow. That being said, guys, appreciate you for tuning in here on Millionaire Responds and the 7 Figure Squad YouTube. And please put your biggest takeaway in the comment section below. Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Again, please put your biggest takeaway in the comment section below. That being said, till we meet again. From Dallas, Texas, I'm your money smart guy. Continue to live smart, continue to love smart, and be money smart today.